All right, guys, welcome. This is exactly how Troy Sage is going to get $65,000 in gross commission income within 6 months' time in Dallas, Texas, using YouTube ads inside our program, the Listing Accelerator with GetListings.com. So, Troy, welcome.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Well, thanks for you for making the time. You want to start by introducing yourself, who you are, where you work, how long you've been an agent, just a little bit of background story about you so people know, who's Troy?
Okay. So I'm Troy Sage. I've been doing this for a long time, collectively over 37 years. So I started when I was 20 years old. In
Yep.
beautiful Detroit, Michigan, where I grew up. I eventually moved my business to Southern California, where I'm an active broker in Southern California. Got my broker's license in 2017 in Arizona and built a small team in the Phoenix area. And then I moved here to Dallas, Texas, technically December of 21, but really started my business in January of 22, where I didn't know anyone at all. It was the craziest, wildest move I
Right.
ever made in my life.
Right. Pretty big risk. And so let's dive into the numbers. I want to get back to that here in a second, but I know a lot of people want to know right away, what they can expect running YouTube ads if they've never done those before. So I like to go through the numbers first. So if we look at your ad account, you've spent roughly $7,000 on YouTube ads, right? In a 6, 7 months, period of time. Roughly got about 58 leads. I'm looking at the CRM right now, and I think you got on 5 listing appointments, and then you want to take on just take over from there, how these 5 appointments went and what you got out of those so far.
Sure. So I do real estate a little bit different. I'm not a high pressure sales guy. So I like
Right.
building the relationship. So there are some appointments I've gone on, and as soon as I went there, I'm like, this isn't a match. And it was very quick and done. But what I found with the ads is that by the time I get to meet the person, to meet the potential client in person, face to face, it's very calm. I don't have to do any sales. They already know what I look like. They already know my demeanor. They already know why I'm there. And we really get to build a relationship. And then we talk numbers, and then we establish a game plan to help them
Yep.
achieve their real estate goal. So it's not old school where you really had to pound and sell while you were there and you had to feel like, man, I really got to push my services. They already know
Yep.
what I do, and they just want to know how I'm going to do it.
Right. Awesome. So the relationship is already started almost to a certain point, whereas you don't really need to sell yourself that much. And so out of the 5 listing appointments that you went on, how many deals you have on the pipeline? How many did you get on the contract? Can you walk us through a little bit more about the results that you're seeing from that?
Sure. So I'll give you a standard listing appointment. I go there, I meet them, we build a relationship. If they're ready to sign right then and there, obviously I have the paperwork,
Right.
we sign and we go. Most of the time, I do a lot of takeaway sales where I'm like, I don't know if you're ready yet because they still have to stage or they have to
Right.
declutter or whatever. And from there, I keep dripping on them with phone calls and so on and so forth to
Right.
keep their attention and let them know that I'm truly interested in what they're doing.
Hmm.
Then once we sign the paperwork, I mean, it's really, really simple. I've yet to go on an appointment where someone says, "Why are you here? I don't want you here," and
Right.
don't sell me anything.
Right. Right. Okay, great. And so I think before the interview started, we were talking about the fact that you got one duplex, right?
Yep. Yep.
For what, 800,000?
Yep. 800.
And then that guy or that person, that seller referred you to buyers already, right?
Two buyers, and he is building more duplexes, and we will list those duplexes. And the cooler part of the sales or the life experience for me is that when I went to take him a little thank you gift, just Troy's standard, hey, thanks for
Yeah.
doing business with me. I showed up at his house and he had a full spread. I mean, he had steaks on the grill, his family was
Yeah.
there.
Nice.
I told myself I'm only stopping by for 10 minutes, and when I got there, it was an hour and a half, and we really, I felt like I was part of the family. That's the
Nice.
coolest part about my job.
Nice, love it. And so, and that also led to, I think you said you went on a listing appointment today for another 800,000 dollar property, right?
Yeah, and this one was awesome. And if you don't mind, I'll share the story with you.
Sure. Yeah.
When I called the guy back from the ad, he was like, I don't want any real estate agents talking to me. I wholesale real estate and I know what I'm doing. I said, hey, no problem. Did you
Yeah.
get the materials? He says, yeah, but I haven't read through it yet. So I called him back the next day. And he's like, I don't want to deal with any real estate agents. And I said, hey, I'm not here to sell you anything. I just want to make sure you understand everything that is involved in selling a home. And he said, I'm a wholesaler, I know. And today I was at his house 2.5 hours. It's longer than I like to be there, but 2.5 hours. And I go back Tuesday after he starts to declutter and we're going to sign the paperwork.
Really? So I'm curious to know what happened from the moment that you called, letting me know, hey, you clicked on my ad, like, is there any way I can help? And from like the moment you got like the listing appointment, like what is it that happened to convince him to actually, be open to a listing appointment?
So my the conversation went like this. He says, I'm going to do this myself. I said, awesome. I said, and if you can't do it on your own, what's your plan? And he said,
Right.
well, then I'll figure it out. And I said, why don't you just give me 30 minutes of your time and see if we can't just figure it out together. This way you don't lose time in the market and you don't spend a lot of time and money trying to get something ready. Let me
Right.
show you what I do, and maybe it's going to be a good fit for us.
Right. Maybe not. It's not going to cost you a thing, right? You have nothing
Yeah.
to lose. Yeah, I like that approach.
And
Cool.
and I'll tell you the one thing I do tell everyone when I schedule an appointment is, listen, I'm not here to sell anything. The worst thing that's going to happen in our lives is we're going to spend 30 minutes together and you're going to say, I don't like you, dude. Get out of my house. I just got to meet another local person. Cause remember, I've only been here 2 years. So I just
Right.
want to meet people.
Right, right, right. That's a good approach, right? Like just minimizing their downside, making them see the upside. Hey, you have nothing to lose. You know, on the flip side, I could potentially, help you either save time or save costs while selling your property for top dollar, right?
Yep.
Um, and so I think you were saying also you have another one next week for like close to $1 million.
Yeah. So that call came in this week and I spoke to him and he really wanted me at a specific time. And I just couldn't make myself available to give him my undivided attention. So I swung by his house. We spoke for what I thought was like 5 minutes. It was actually over 35 minutes. And
Right,
he's already packing stuff up. And he says, hey, let's talk after the holiday, after Easter here. Let's talk right after the weekend
right.
and let's get the ball rolling. Now, what does
Nice.
the ball rolling mean? That means I'm taking a contract with me and we're going to start rocking stuff out.
Nice.
So,
Good stuff. Well, congrats on that. I mean, I think you were saying, and you were like just ranking the numbers before the call, like you were about to get like what, $65,000 in commissions, if everything like actually, goes through.
yeah, if everything pans out as of, today's date, it'll be about 65,000 in commission.
Nice. And obviously like the duplex you already sold, right?
Yep.
So that would be roughly like, 7 grand in for 65 grand back out. So roughly like 9 times our return on investment, which is pretty solid, right? If you compare that to any other type of lead system that you could try. Talking about lead system, you obviously switch markets, right? I want to understand your take on these. How do you pick a lead system? How do you know, like, how did you know like YouTube ads was going to work? Did you ever like know it's going to work? Or like, what was your take on that before actually giving it a shot?
Wow. I've done a lot of different lead capture programs or different marketing type programs.
Right.
Everything from direct mail to just knocking on doors. And here's what made me decide to do this. Number one, I don't know a lot of people here, and I need exposure. And
Right.
I'm not a big meta guy. Matter of fact, when I talk to agents that are into Facebook and Instagram, I think that's fantastic for them. It's just not my thing.
Hmm.
So I researched several different companies that claim that they do YouTube marketing. I spent some money on another company. It didn't work. And I thought the worst thing that's going to happen is I try your guys' program and it doesn't
Right.
work and I'm out a little bit of cash.
Right.
But I made the decision before I went this route with YouTube because of the fact I'd done YouTube in the past and stopped doing it for about 3 years.
Okay.
And I was actually monetized at one point. Didn't even know what that meant. 2011,
Nice.
I was monetized. I'm like, well, I got a $10 check. I didn't know what that meant.
Right.
And in hindsight, like I kind of kicked myself on the butt going, dude, you were onto something before you knew you were onto something.
Right.
So in my marketing, I use a lot of video already. So I thought the worst thing that's going to happen is, well, I shoot some videos and it doesn't work and I spend a little bit of money. It to me, it was worth the quote risk,
Yeah.
which really wasn't a risk, but it was worth the risk to do more video than to do mailers or what other agents are doing all the time. I'd like being a little bit different.
Right. Nice. And can you explain to people, I guess, watching this, like what is it that we do? How do we work together? Because I explain it to like different people, and like I guess people like to see it from like I guess our client's perspective and understand it like from their perspective directly. What does it look like on the inside? How do we work together? What is it that we do for you exactly?
Okay, well, to my surprise, because when I got involved in your program, I thought, well, listen, they're not going to do what they say they're going to do because most coaches and most companies don't.
Right,
My videos are going to be horrible. There's
right,
going to be no scripting. They're going to go, here you go, man. Here's a CRM. Good luck. But really, the way it works is I'll wake up in the morning, I'll have an email from you guys or an IM that says, hey, here's a new script for you. Shoot the script and send it to us.
right,
And that's it. I shoot it. I get comfortable with the script. I shoot the script. I send it to you guys. And usually that day, sometimes it takes an extra day, depending on when I send it to you guys.
right,
And the video's done.
right,
And it looks cool. So then we upload it onto YouTube and I let you guys know, hey, everything's uploaded and you guys work your magic. So from there, the ads run and my contact management system starts getting leads. I mean,
right,
I understand why people would be hesitant because it sounds too good to be true. You go,
right,
really? Like these guys are really doing what they're saying that they
right,
do? Yes. And then there's coaching calls that say, hey, when you get this kind of phone call, here's some ideas of how to walk through that phone call.
right,
And you, as the business owner, have the ultimate goal to say, I don't want to work it like that. Well, then don't. It's your money. But
right.
the reality is, everything you guys have suggested I do, when I adapt to it, I go on more appointments.
Right. Well, appreciate that. I mean, it is the industry we're in. Unfortunately, we have to face this every single day. People are skeptical because they've been burnt before by other companies, which I can understand, right? But yeah, I mean, we do things a little bit differently. We actually care about our clients, and client success, client results has always been and will always be our number one priority, right? So just a quick question, right? Because we started running the ads 6 or 7 months ago. Is there anything you've learned throughout these 6 or 7 months that you like at the beginning you wish you would have done differently, maybe looking back?
In regards to the ads or my whole business?
Let's do both. Let's start with the YouTube ads first, and then let's talk about the business as well.
Okay, so the YouTube ads, I've learned that the timing and the demeanor and the canter is so important. Where before it was like, hey, it's Troy, and I'm gonna downplay this a little bit, but it was like, hey, it's Troy. If you're looking to sell your home, I'd love the opportunity to work with you. One of those kind of things, which a
Right,
lot of agents do, right? We
right,
want to portray as the human being. But I've learned that we've got like 5 seconds to get their attention. We've
yep,
got a few more seconds to make sure that they stay involved in our video. We got a couple more seconds to get them to click.
hmm,
And this is all very, very fast paced. So my first video, I felt like I was doing like a Sham Wow commercial, right? And I'm
right,
animated anyways, right? I mean,
yeah,
even talking to you, like my hands
yeah,
move. And at first I thought, this is cool. I can just be me. I can go, if you're thinking about whatever, or check out what's going on. And I got to be excited because I'm an excitable guy. So
yeah,
I learned that number one, that was okay, is to be excitable. And number
right,
two, that you really rock through these and it gets people's attention. It's marketing 101 when you break it down. Like
yeah,
we all know the swoosh is Nike because of the fast paced graphics and all the video. And we all
yeah,
know Apple because they have their style. So I learned that in YouTube, that to do ads like this, we've got to be blunt, to the point, and a call to action, always a call to action.
right,
And then in business side, I've learned that we don't have to talk so fast. We don't have to be
mm,
the video, right?
right,
We build that relationship.
yeah,
Where my fear in the beginning was that false evidence appearing real is, I got to talk like this all the time. And oh my gosh, you have a
right,
great house. And I can't wait to see that imported granite. And we just need
right,
to go, hey, what can I do to help you? How can I be of service to you to help you
right,
achieve your goals and dreams?
yeah,
And you guys have walked me through that to go, hey, some people take this approach, some people take this approach. One of my biggest takeaways in the past couple of weeks is the temperature check when I'm talking to people,
yeah,
because I really got stuck on the script per se.
yeah,
Right. And I've been doing this a long time. So when someone says, read this script, and I go, okay, I got it. And I just read the script. And it was like, oh, and I listened to some of my calls. I'm like, man, I totally dropped the ball there. I wasn't listening to take a temperature check to get that closed, to get the appointment.
yeah, yeah,
So I don't want to sound like a massive cheerleader, but I really, really am grateful and thankful for this program because it has helped me grow as an agent,
yeah.
and it's helped me also generate some income.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it for sure. I mean, I appreciate the kind words. Like, where did you get that from, the temperature check? Because we also do this. Not sure if you got it from like our program or like, somewhere else.
The temperature check?
Yeah.
I got it from you guys, man.
Oh, okay, cool. I just wanted to
Yeah.
double check because we do this all the time, right? Just double checking. Like for people that are not like that are listening that don't know what like a temperature check is basically just whenever you're communicating to someone, just like making sure they're following along with what you're saying and they're agreeing. So, for example, let me give an example. Let's say you're talking about something or like you're asking specific questions. You want to ask like if that makes sense. But then the key here is not just listening to the answer they're giving you, but more importantly, the tonality they use, right? So if they say, yeah, it kind of makes sense, right? Or yeah, it makes sense. They're like maybe a 6 out of 10 on the certainty scale. And so you wouldn't like respond back by saying exactly, because then you're like coming at them with like a 10 out of 10, like, certainty on the certainty scale. And they're going to be like, unconsciously they're going to be like, man, this guy definitely isn't listening to me because that's not the tonality I'm using. You know what I mean? So you need to like match their tonality and then, bring that up without necessarily being like, hey, what's going on? Like it seems like you're uncertain. So anyways, like long story short, like there's different ways you can go about doing temperature checks, but yeah, I do love that as well. Something I started to implement as well, and see a massive difference. So great that you've seen a massive difference in your business as well. So cool. That's pretty much it. I mean, overall, what would you say to someone that's on the fence of joining our program, Troy?
I've talked to a couple of agents that have reached
Right,
out to me because they've seen me either on Google or wherever
right,
they found me, and they said, "Hey, you're doing this thing with these guys," and yes, I am. And they say, "What do you think of?" Like I've told them straight up, if you don't at least try this and follow what they're saying, you're going to waste your money somewhere else. And I know that that's harsh and to the point with some agents, but truly, if you're willing to spend some money on marketing and you're calling me to say, "Hey, Troy, do you like this program or not?" The first thing I tell them is, number one, hey, I don't work for this company. They
right,
work for me. I pay them
right.
and they run my ads. They
Yeah,
give me scripts. They do everything. And it's really click it and forget it. And
right,
then start answering your phone. So I've told several agents right now, if you're not willing to at least try it, then don't do it. But I'm telling you, if you try it, you will get results. 110%. I believe in this. You will get results. And you just like anything else in life, you have to stick with it. You've got to give it 6 months. You got to give it a year. You got to give it
right.
18 months. There's no magic in what we do.
No, no. That's a great answer. Thank you for that. I mean, I usually compare it to like the gym. Getting a membership at the gym won't get you the results you're looking for unless you put in the work, right? Two people can go to the same gym but have completely different results. Why is that? Because of the work they're putting in, right? And so lastly, I want to touch on something. I want to talk about like the settlement that's going on with like NAR basically, right? Just want to get your take on that. If you'd like to share your opinion on that. Obviously, nobody has a crystal ball and everything, but I know this is scaring a lot of people out in the industry. And so I'm just curious to find out like what you think overall, your opinion, and if you have any like insights or any maybe like strategies to navigate through that situation.
Sure. I can start by saying again, I've been doing this a long time. So, and the people on my team were back in California, not here in Dallas. I'm here by myself, but we never, ever, ever, for all the time that I've done real estate, ever spent any more than an hour or two with the client without having a buyer broker agreement signed,
Hmm.
without explaining to a buyer, hey, this is what I do, this is my value. And if you don't want to work with me, I'm fine with that. I'll refer you to
Right.
someone else, or you're welcome to find someone else. And in my listings from day one, I always explained, and maybe this was part of my marketing shtick, I didn't even know, was they'd say, "What do you charge in commission?" I charge 3%. Oh, well, let's schedule an appointment. Well, then when I sit down, I go, I charge 3%. And what I would say is, what do you want to pay out to a buyer's agent?
Right.
And if they'd say nothing, I'd say, well, we can't do nothing because no one's going to look at your home. So my opinion on this is I think agents are going to leave the business because they're not strong enough to go, this is my value. I
Hmm.
think some agents are going to leave the business because they've postured. And I don't know if you've seen this or not, but I see it like on the internet, and guys are driving a Lamborghini, and in real
Yeah.
life, they're driving a 73 Honda Civic,
Yeah.
right? So they posture to be making all this money. And in my opinion, that has never been my MO. And I don't think that should be the general public's view of an agent that we're driving these big fancy cars and we sit on our butt after we write a contract. There's a
Right.
lot of work to be done.
Right.
So I think we're going to go through a shift. I think we're going to see that more paperwork's going to have to be done. There's going to have to be more transparency with buyers and sellers, which is totally cool. I'm not worried about the buyer's agent commission because we can change the word and call it concessions.
Right.
You know, I just spoke to a gentleman today. He says, well, hey, I heard about the NAR thing, which is weird. The general public doesn't follow like we do because it's our business. And he says, so I don't have to pay a buyer's agent commission. I said, you absolutely don't. And matter of fact, you never had to.
Right.
But now it's a hot spot. And he says, well, what do we do then? That like I'm going to make an extra 3 or 4 or 5%? Not necessarily, because if the home doesn't appraise, then what? What happens if a buyer has to bring this extra money? So what I told him, I said, be prepared that we're not going to advertise a buyer's agent commission. The BAC goes away, but there'll still be concessions because now it's going to be, in my opinion, a buyer's expense that a seller can still pay for. I think it's just going to be we're and I don't like using this term, but I can't think of anything else. We're just doing a shell game to go, okay, we're going to call it something different.
Right.
Right. So
Yep.
in
Yep.
dating, like when I got engaged to my wife, she was my
Yep.
fiance.
Right.
She was still my partner.
Right.
And then
I
we
love
got
that
married.
analogy.
Now
Yeah.
she's my wife. It's the
Yeah.
same person.
Same person. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it. Nice. Awesome. I appreciate your time, Troy. Thank you so much for, sharing your experience with our YouTube ads program, the listing accelerator with getlistings.com. Really appreciate you as a client as well. Keep crushing it, and we look forward to helping you keep making more.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you.